Brooks Orpik and Alex Ovechkin take a selfie at the Capitals championship parade. Jonathan Newton. The Washington Post, by Isabel Kerstadian. Isabel Kerstadian, reporter covering the Washington Capitals. Email bio follows September 16 at 10:53 a.m. Boston. The Capitals have heard all about the potential pitfalls for the defending Stanley Cup champions: a slow start to the season, fatigue from such a long playoff run, and greater injury risk because of a short summer to both recover and train. Defenseman Brooks Orpik, the only Washington player who'd actually won a championship before this past one, would advise his teammates to largely ignore those warnings. You hear a lot of people trying to tell you that you should feel a lot more tired than you actually are, so I think, if you let that creep in, you can trick yourself into feeling it, said Orpik, who also won the Cup in 2009 with the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Capitals open their preseason schedule with Sunday's afternoon game in Boston, just 3 days into the on-ice portion of training camp. Washington traveled just 5 players who played in the Stanley Cup Final Series against the Vegas Golden Knights, and half of the Bruins roster is in China for an exhibition series against Calgary. Training camp and preseason action is a harsh come-down after hoisting the Stanley Cup on the ice just 3 months ago, but the Capitals are already wary of the traps into which past defending champions have fallen as they begin their bid to repeat. Spriluga. This time, the Capitals' heaviest burden might be an actual hangover. It's no secret that sometimes happens. You go from playing on the biggest stage, you play the biggest game in your life, and then you have an off-season, and then it's game 1 again, forward Tom Wilson said. We're all human, that's normal. But I think with our group, no matter what, whether it's the last game of the Stanley Cup, or game 1, we love to win. That's what separates us. We've had that mentality the last couple of years. Super fun group. I'm expecting us to get out there and pick up where we left off. After winning back-to-back titles, the Penguins struggled during the first half of last season and were 1 point out of the playoff picture through 41 games. They recovered with a strong second half, but the postseason isn't always a given for the defending Stanley Cup champion. The Los Angeles Kings won in 2014 and then missed the playoffs the next year. Pittsburgh's recent repeat made them the first team to pull off that feat in 20 years. Part of the difficulty is that opponents will use games against the reigning Cup winner as a sort of measuring stick. I was thinking to myself a couple weeks ago that we've got to realize that everything is going to be tougher to start, and all the games are going to be tougher against us, center Nicholas Backstrom said. We better play our best hockey to start, that's reality. But at the same time you feel like a whole season, 82-game season, you have your ups and downs. But it's always important to have a good start, so you don't fall back too far behind. Evgeny Kuznetsov could be part of the Capitals' new penalty-killing plan. Orpik returned to Washington for informal skates ahead of training camp on Labor Day, and was pleasantly surprised that so many of his teammates were already back and in pretty good conditioning. I thought coming off this summer that everybody would be coming in kind of last second, but guys got genuinely excited to get back it, he said. For me, it's the exact same as any other season, Orpik continued. If you treat it any different, then I think you get exposed a little bit. If you treat it differently, you probably don't start on time, and if you do that, you dig yourself a